Hello, everyone. Welcome. Man, looking at those season 1 characters.
I was such a baby.
Jeff didn't even have curtains back then.
Yes.
Wow. So many things have changed.
Welcome,
I like starting
everyone.
with an inside joke.
We are very ready, very excited to talk about what we're going to talk about. You know what? Let's start with we're going to talk about some of the new trailers while we wait for Kyle to join us because he said he's making an appearance. We'll see. Let's talk about the other one that we can watch live. Did you guys watch the Jurassic World? I keep calling it Afterbirth. It is just
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Did you guys watch that trailer?
Yeah.
No, I have not seen it.
Now, I'm pretty excited about that movie, just even before the trailer, just because of the people behind. Like, Garrett Edwards is the director, who's like, he directed my favorite Star Wars movie, Rogue One. I think he did some Godzilla stuff. He did the Creator. So
Monsters, his first film, worth the watch. He did that all on his laptop, and it is fantastic.
What's the first film?
Monsters. It's about a journalist that goes down there.
Oh, that is a good film. Oh yeah.
Aliens land, and he has to go find like the CEO of the company he works for. Like he's a journalist. He'd go find their daughter and then bring her back, and she's in the infected zone. In I believe it's in South or Central America. And so it's just them trying to get through like a giant wall that's been put up and deal with these monsters that have existed. So then the world is kind of built around it. So he does incredible world building of what it's like after an alien invasion, but they're not like attacking. They just came here to live and exist.
Nice. So, I mean, like I said, great director. We have the original writer of the original film. What's his name? David Keane? Is that it? Am I right? Does that sound right?
That sounds exactly right.
I also was thinking Michael Crichton, but
I mean, he wrote the book, right?
Yeah, he did.
He wrote the book on dinosaurs. If it's not, every time I enjoy New Jurassic, while Clay's looking it up,
it's this David Kep.
David Kep. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you. I knew it was something K. I knew it was DK. Donkey Kong.
Not Drift King from Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. If every time I see a new Jurassic Park thing, I think back to those 90s toys commercials where it's like, if it's not JP, it's extinct. And then the little Jurassic Park logo on the dinosaur.
Oh God, I miss Extreme commercials.
Yeah, wow.
I love those.
Man, nothing screams late 90s, early 2000s like Extreme.
And those were like quality toys. Like I had a dinosaur that you could take the thing was that you could take a bite out of it. Like it had a bite taken off of it, so you could like reinsert the little plastic thing and take it off. Because that's how you would have fun with your dinosaurs, I guess, from Jurassic Park.
That's still way cooler than those, like, I had those battle He-Man ones with the little like shield plate where you hit it and it spun around. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather have a big old hunk take out of them and then put it back in. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like how their tagline is "Don't buy old dinosaur toys." Like it's a subtle kind of like, because dinosaur toys have been around forever.
Yeah.
And you're like, and parents are cheap. They're gonna be like, why would I buy you a $10 Jurassic Park Extreme toy when I could buy you this bag of 70 tiny dinosaur toys?
Exactly. Yeah, your plastic bucket of dinosaur molds is stupid. Here we go. Wow, get ready for some Extreme. Now, remember, when they yell Extreme, you have to lean way back in your chair like this. That always happens.
With all the excitement of the movie. Look for the JP mark.
Is that Stan Lee?
It's Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs are loose. Tim Murphy snares a Dimetrodon. Grant wrestles with a dangerous Coelophysis. And a Pteranodon battles a spitting Dilophosaurus. Each sold separately. It's happening, but only at Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs are on a rampage, and only the JP team is tough enough to stop them. Grant fires his net launcher. Ellie launches her grappling hook. Muldoon fires a tranquilizer. Each sold separately.
Man, put a net launcher in these things. A backpack net launcher in this movie.
How did Muldoon survive that long?
I didn't hear the it's extinct line though, but there's like 9 minutes.
It might have been those might have been for the later iteration.
Later, like Jurassic World or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Kyle.
Jurassic World, but like
the prodigal son returns.
Hey,
Kyle.
What's up?
We were just talking about the Jurassic Park trailer for after.
So, did you guys notice the Rancor in that trailer?
The Rancor. So, okay. There are mutated dinosaurs, whatever that means.
Yeah. And he's come back and said it's based on the Rancor, the Xenomorph, and the T-Rex.
Yeah. So you're going to get like, we're going back to like, this is scary dinosaurs. These aren't like the dinosaurs you're rooting for because the T-Rex saved them at the end of the first movie or whatever.
That's interesting because the series was supposed to pivot into this. They were trying to genetically mesh the dinosaurs with human DNA. So you can find drawings on the internet of like this, where they were trying to pre-vis what that would look like.
Yeah.
And they just never went that direction with it.
And then they realized they just looked like all the Goombas from the Super Mario movie. So
I don't know if
they would have beat the Alien franchise to it by, 10 years.
You're right. Yeah, that was 3, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll address this in the film, but in the trailer description, like in the YouTube video, it tells you like, by the way, we know that all those other dinosaurs escaped at the end of the last movie, but they couldn't survive because of the climate, so they all died.
Yay, climate change.
Well, they're just not equipped to live in that climate. I think that was before even climate change was factored in. I'm sure it didn't. If anything, climate change would probably make it more hospitable for them to live in more regions.
No, it was really high taxes that got them. They came here, they set up lives, and they just couldn't afford it. So
dinosaur tariffs? I don't think so.
The dinosaurs hate Trump before we did.
Yeah, they wanted to eat the rich and the poor,
and
everyone.
Don't forget, it was the accountant that got eaten by the T-Rex in the shitter, right?
They all got into a submarine and tried to find the Titanic. Is really what happened to them.
Well, they had to use an Xbox controller because their arms were so little.
Come on, hire us. We're just rife with great Jurassic Park ideas.
If anything, they should be our pitch to SNL. We should do like digital shorts.
That'd be good.
Like those other guys.
So as I was watching this trailer, so it's the premise is kind of the same as 2, I guess, sort of,
or 3. I think it's more like 3
or 3.
No, 3 was because they had to go save the kid.
Well, yeah, but instead of a kid, they want to go get medicine, but it's still the same thing. They're going back to the island, right?
Yeah, and it's another.
They go back to the island.
Isn't it another secret island? Isn't that the?
It's like the first island, yeah. Because this is where they tested the dinosaurs before taking them over to Jurassic Park. That's why you have reject mutates.
But now that is in the book. But so in the book, they do talk about how there are 2 islands. One is the park, and the other one is like the research island where they build all the dinosaurs.
The research island is the one they went to in 3.
And so yeah, that's right. But I want to see this movie, but with like a bunch of rednecks, like that don't like. It's always like these paramilitary people, like we know what we're going in. But I wanted to see with a bunch of like Florida guys who are like, that's just fucking dinosaurs, like let's go. We wrestle alligators all the time. How different can it be?
I'll wrestle a dinosaur.
That's the movie.
Mouth open. So.
One thing, redneck guys be the ones who survive longer because they wrestle the alligators.
Oh no, I would make sure it was cast like a team of like what you see driving around here, the Yalkada, the big rednecks. Those types.
I do like the the reaction to dinosaurs. Like if you look at the comments in the trailer, everyone's freaking out about the one that shows up in the water at the end with the scale on its back. Oh, that one was my favorite. Like for some reason, people they are freaking out over that because there's a bunch of them. You see a bunch of them protecting the boat or whatever from the big dinosaur that shows up later.
So I haven't seen the trailer. I just assume that's Godzilla.
Oh,
it's coming. I mean, that's a crossover we're all waiting for.
Oh, yeah. Well, they go to the other island, and what they come to find out is this monster island, and then Kong is there. And I'm just saying, you know, and there's Skull Island. I mean, tons of possibilities.
They're making it a Godzilla X King Kong already. I'm like, really? Can you not stop?
No, they shoot it and never stop. I like those movies. Just keep bashing toys into each other.
Take the hunk out, put it back in.
Also,
we don't get Jet Jaguar in the next movie, though.
Oh, we should. We need it to be piloted by Dan Stevens, who went from the dinosaur veterinarian to the pilot of Jet Jaguar.
Yeah,
Jet Jaguar, that'd be awesome.
Dino Vet.
All right, so yeah, I think the movie. Yeah. There we go. Kyle's got the merch.
Yep.
Kyle's got the t-shirt.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I was working the DamCon last weekend, and it was like I had to pick up Megalon.
Nice.
That's a great one.
And we, we'll see Mahershala Ali actually do a movie where, as opposed to just waiting for Blade.
Yeah,
so that should be nice. That would be nice.
All right, it would be cool if he gets a sword in this movie, also.
Oh, I mean, he probably has like a machete thing, right?
Yeah,
he's the boat captain.
He's the boat captain.
I heard
some dinosaurs are always trying to
ice skate uphill.
Ice skate uphill. Stupid dinosaurs.
They were talking about they wanted to make it like the Jaws characters too, like so like Mahershala Ali is one of the the boat captain, and ScarJo's probably more like the Richard Dreyfuss character. I don't know.
Yeah, the scientist.
They're trying to make those equivalents, and they're like Mahershala Ali in the interview is like, I don't see it. But, okay. I like when actors are like, I mean, I'm not gonna yuck your yum, but I don't see it. But whatever. Keep on with your fan fiction, I guess. All right. So we'll see what else. We'll probably talk about more trailers next week because I'm sure we're getting a bunch of stuff at the Super Bowl.
Superb owl.
Have you guys seen the Fast and Furious product tie-in? It is the weirdest tie-in. It is Haagen-Dazs.
Oh no!
Because when you think of Fast and Furious, you think of ice cream. But
absolutely, because you have to race home before it melts.
I can see Han eating ice cream like while they're waiting when they're doing the deep.
You would think, but it's Dom and Letty in his Charger driving, and there's like a Haagen-Dazs plate to promote the commercial, and then when the commercial comes out, it's more based on slow instead of fast. They're slow. And she reaches over like she's going to shift gears, and then she grabs ice cream and starts to eat it. And Ludacris drives up in his giant, Jeep, and he's like, "I thought you were about the fast life." And he's like, "Not anymore." And eating ice cream and drive off, and that's the whole commercial.
God, if they swap out, they've already swapped out Corona for Bud Light, the Corona and Bud Light. So if they swap out the Bud Light for ice cream in this next movie, that would be great.
I'm just going to be watching the film hoping that they have a scene where they eat ice cream for no reason at all.
And then it suddenly pivots into a commercial for like a med because they're lactose intolerant. So
it's just
going to use the shitter. It's fun to this episode. You're welcome.
It's coming Fast and Furious. Oh. That's on the internet forever. All right,
make that a YouTube short.
Yeah, let's get into this is gonna be tough because there's 5 of us, so I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I already struggle enough when there's 4 people on the thing, and I'm like, how do I fit all the faces in the box? But onto the main event, I think, because there was a launch, and Clay, you were up for this?
Yes, I was excited.
What were they doing?
Okay, so when you go to the trailer link before it dropped, it was like a NASA countdown. So like they even had the screens like in like the old low def size. They were using footage from NASA. They had like the Saturn III at the place where they had a host and tons of cosplayers and people who arrived just to watch the trailer because they had the whole cast come out and introduce it.
Now, for the audience, because NASA's been defunded since, can you tell them what NASA was?
We used to go to space as a country on our own with the money that we would give the government so that we could explore and look for, ways to improve our life, not billionaires. So,
I like the idea that the whole country was on board. Like, we should send people to space.
Well, we were compelled once the Soviets sent up Sputnik. We were like, oh, fuck, we need to compete with them. So it was less this, like,
There was a time period where it was cool to be smart. And people hired smart people to go, how do we get up there? And
right.
The Russians were kicking our ass. And suddenly the U.S. was like, how do we get smart people? And let's do this. And
then someone snapped their fingers and thought, Nazi scientists.
Yep. But it was JFK who promised, we'll get to the moon. And then, we finally make it. And it was like an exciting time. Everyone was around their TV to see this achievement by our country that was an incredible and not an insurrection. Now,
granted, back then, Mr. Beast wasn't making videos, so there was not a lot to watch other than the space
or snack packs.
Yeah.
I guess the Space Launch was kind of like the first reality TV type of stuff because it's like, we're really launching people into space.
Yeah,
until
no one knew what to expect.
Until they showed us one blowing up as we were all kids.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah.
And they marched us all out to watch it live.
Yeah, no counseling after that. Just go to your next class.
They're like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have showed you that live.
Wait,
sorry.
Classes still happen right after that?
Yeah, I remember being in the library. Then it was just like they just turned the TV off, and you just were like, "Go to your next class." We're not even going to talk about it. We're not going to address what happened,
homie. Like a half day or something at least, like a free period.
No, like our homework was to watch the day after, so we knew what nuclear war was going to be like. And then just like, okay, let's talk about it. And everyone's just like suddenly got a new trauma in their life they have to deal with because we just watched the world die. And then it's like, okay, what's next? That was really it. It was a weird time being a Gen X kid.
Hands Across America couldn't heal that wound.
No.
I revisited a movie this week from the 80s and I was like, you know what? This was a nice rom-com. I really enjoyed Arthur. Dudley Moore. Let's watch this. Like in the first 10 minutes, there is a joke about a certain kind of assault that happens. And it is so unsettling that I was just like, I can't believe that they said this was a good joke to leave into the film. Like, I'll tell you guys off screen because it's really fucked up.
that movie is...
the hero of the movie is an alcoholic. So I mean, there's your other.
That's kind of a tough watch movie. I remember.
That's the best thing I can say about it.
But it was like, but what if a rich guy, what will he do to keep his money if he falls in love with a poor girl? Oh my God, the struggle.
Well, but so it's funny you say that. I was actually thinking the other day about how weird a time it was for media for Gen X kids in the 80s. Because, again, I just want to remind everyone, the Police Academy films are fairly hard R-rated, all right?
The first couple, I would say.
Yeah. But, again, taken to the theater to see it as a kid, the opposite end of the spectrum, there was an official Police Academy cartoon for children, right? And that was just the media landscape in the 80s.
Rambo got a cartoon. RoboCop got a cartoon. The most violent films suddenly were like,
there should have been a Dexter cartoon.
Kids?
The Cosmic Avenger got a cartoon.
If that trend had kept going, we definitely would have had Dexter toys, Hannibal toys.
Silence of the Lambs, yeah, I like
and just think of
lambs.
Just think of how much money Toy Universe could have saved with both a Hannibal Lecter and a Dexter toy, right? You just make the main character and then empty packages. Very easy. So,
I mean, if we had Xenomorph toys growing up, then you know what? Get on it today.
But at least those are aliens. Those are cool. I don't know if
you
I
can have
want
a long legs action figure.
It's long legs. Oh my god! I still haven't finished that movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet either.
Nick Cage, long legs.
Oh,
and we're getting another Osgood Perkins this year with that bad monkey. Like, I love the tagline. Like, hey, remember that killer monkey that wanted to kill our family as kids? Well, he's back.
All right. To get back on track of Fantastic
Thank
Four,
you, Clay.
The NANA countdown gave such a vibe of the 60s and that time period when we were excited to be Americans and see space exploration. Like, our country was going to do it. We were going to land on the moon. We were going to beat the Russians at something that wasn't war, and it was an intellectual pursuit for the betterment of the country. And so it was really exciting to watch them kind of prep it like that. And then when they went into the show and they had the cast on, they had cosplayers, they had a whole crowd. It was really cool. I just was bummed because the host didn't seem prepared at all. She didn't really have questions. She was just kind of all over the place, like she was just going to wing it. And then she got in front of everyone and she was like, And so there's a moment where she pitches to Eban, the actor that's playing Ben Grimm, about what's it like to say it's clobbering time. And he suddenly took control of the room. And he's just like, well, let's all get that feeling right now. I want you to turn to the person next to you and I'm going to count down. And we're all going to say it's clobbering.
Oh, nice.
So he just got the room hyped for that moment. And it was really cool to see everyone do that. And then they just did a 10-second countdown and played the trailer. And that was it. That was all the prep going into it. But it just gave you a sweet vibe.
In defense of this host, and I don't know who they are, I don't know how well I could function in front of Vanessa Kirby or Pedro Pascal. I would just be like,
like, I'm ready. Oh, fuck, they're right there. Yeah.
It's still like, and even on the East Coast, it's still like 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever for her. Like, it's still that I did wake up early to watch. Like, I just kind of woke up, just kind of realized we were at early morning, and so I turned on my television.
Jeff always woke.
Yeah, always woke. Head on a swivel, and then so I turned on the TV or turned on YouTube just to kind of have it playing, and I realized that they were playing that kind of loop of like, it was cool. It was like, because you would hear like the kind of like humming of like the control center where somebody would just like pop on and then you hear this like kind of beeping and stuff.
Yeah, and the camera would do the slow pan to do the reveal of the room like the old security cameras.
Yeah.
This is Tom Hanks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
my first thought was like, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, but then it rolls into, this is a live broadcast brought to you by the Future Foundation. So then it's like, then it references and it drops the 4 logo, and it just played on repeat.
Well, let's check it out. Let's check out the little teaser. It's a short teaser, and then we'll talk more about it. We got a lot of stuff to cover about this, so hopefully this has sound already for you guys.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7 on the dot.
I love all the mid-century modern stuff. This is my dream
logo.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming? Yeah, I'll be the judge of that. Okay. Is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious. I just want to add a little bit of zip. Okay?
T-5. Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock. The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us. We'll face it together.
I love the Fantastic car.
Yeah, I do too.
So beautiful. And I want one of those thing masks. I know they're going to sell them.
As a family.
I'm so hyped. Okay, can I say something right off the bat? Okay, it's like the 5th time I've watched it. So I find it telling we never see Reed use his power.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if actually the first time they go up, he's unaffected. And so really his role is just being Reed Richards, smartest man in the planet, right? And then I wonder if apparently they're going up a second time. I mean, that's what I took from that line. And if that's when he gets, like, maybe they're going up again to, like, fix the problem, right? You know, restore them all back to their humanity or whatever. And that's when he gets his powers. Or the other thing is, I know there's always been a sense that your average audience member kind of, like, giggles whenever Reed gets super, like, stretchy, right? And so I wonder if they're just like, just leave it out because your normies are just going to think it looks weird, right? So I don't know. That's kind of either end of the spectrum, but
I'm wondering if it's I'm wondering if it's the second, like if they're just like, it's, you know, it's hard to make people look stretchy and make your brain believe it, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe they're still like, we're still, you know, months away. They still could be working out CGI kinks and stuff on it.
I wondered that too. Yeah. I mean,
well, great.
They did it successfully in Multiverse of Madness, but you know, I feel like
also in the blue suit, so you're watching the suit stretch and not skin as much. So
yeah.
Let me ask this: we've all been, you know, inundated with Fantastic Four, like cartoons and stuff, our whole life. The Ben Grimm voice, I'm so used to it being a deep, gruff voice.
Yeah, I did.
And so it took me a second to be like, I don't know how I feel about this voice because he's just doing the voice. And then, you know, logically you're just like, well, it would still, it's just him in a rock suit, you know, it would still be the same voice kind of thing. And so it really kind of broke my brain every time I'm watching. I'm like, each time I watch it, I'm like, okay. It gets a little bit more used. I can get more used to it. But how did you guys feel about the voice first?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. I mean, he's got a pretty good commanding voice, regardless. Like, you wouldn't need to change it much to make it sound more like the Ben Grimm that we might be more used to.
And maybe if it gets angrier, it gets deeper, and they deal with, like, you know, how heavy he is and how he is his voice.
My cousin, fucking what? What are you? Fucking Galactus.
I had the same response when you first started talking that you did, Jeff. But again, in rewatching it, I love that they picked that moment to introduce him because it's much more about his character.
Yeah.
And of course, I thought it was a very, you know, probably not so subtle callback to his role in The Bear, but you know,
that's what
yeah, but I mean, it's very much about also because think of how often when we see them translated to screen, Ben is just always depressed, right? And this was just him, like being like, I'm a fun-loving guy who loves food, man. We're just gonna add a little bit of garlic, you know? It's so good.
Yeah.
And the redesign of sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to show the team here that we get to see at the end and the inspiration for it. Because it was kind of neat to see this pop up. The Beatles stage.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even place that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Is that Ed Sullivan?
I think it's the Ed Sullivan show
Wow. That's amazing.
I'm going to need to work with Clay on his pictures. So they look good.
Hey, Clay, go back to can you go back to the team picture again?
Yeah.
I was just noting something real quick.
It's like this big.
There's 4 of them.
Well, yeah, I know that, but with some of the costumes, I just want to see real
quick.
quick.
They all do have slightly different costumes. Ben's has the white on the shoulders. I guess
all of them have the white around the neck except Reed.
Yeah. I wonder if it's unstable molecules for some reason.
No, but I wonder if Josh might be right. He may not get his powers until the second flight.
Right, exactly. Like he doesn't need the unstable molecules because he can't stretch.
Yeah, and we don't need him anymore because it seems like nanobites have kind of taken over in the MCU. So why would we need unstable molecules? I guess. Well,
this takes place in a 60s like universe. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is not the main MCU that we know and love. Like it's not like because the skyline doesn't add up to like what we would eventually see, right?
Right.
No, they're definitely on another Earth. They're definitely on another Earth.
Yeah, my theory is that this team will have to leave that universe because of Galactus, and then they'll pop up like at the end of the movie, maybe, or in the next thing, whatever. They'll pop up in our universe. Yeah.
Well, so Richard at Zeus we were discussing this when I picked up my books, and he has an intriguing theory, which is actually for this film the theory I had for the Superman movie, which is he's like, I wonder if they fail in the end, and Galactus ends up eating that world, and they have to leave it, and then they end up in the MCU.
Wow. I mean,
yeah. I mean, which can you imagine having a film that looks like that bright and hopeful, and then in the end of it, they lose? I mean, that'd be interesting.
Like if the Incredibles died at the end of the Incredibles, like that's what you're proposing.
I think they get on the lifeboat and it's like, what would Reed save from this world? That's the other idea I get from it, is because he would just save, like, you know, he's always considered Ben his greatest failure. He's turned Ben into the thing. He never is able to save his friend again. If he lost his world too, what kind of Reed Richards do we have? Because he would be a very broken man to live with all. I mean, it could be that. But I always felt like when reading the Ultimate Fantastic Four that Maker was more successful. He was like an untouched mad genius. Like he didn't have that. Him and Ben were friends since they were kids, and I think when they died, it was like he was able to like move on, and it was unchecked.
Well, I also feel like, sorry, I'm topping off my coffee. I also feel like, okay, because let's go back, right? Very clearly, the big bad in this segment of the MCU is going to be Kang, and Kang makes sense as an FF bad guy, right? Because
I don't think so anymore.
Huh?
I don't think so. I don't think they've pivoted to Doom completely.
No. But before they had to pivot.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. And so I feel like probably the original idea of this movie was it was always going to have Galactus, but at the end of it, you get Kang, time travel shenanigans or multiversal shenanigans, and they end up in the MCU. They had to pivot, but you can still do that with Doom, right? Doom has his little time travel platform that he uses. Right, yeah. And so I do wonder if like the writers and Matt Shank are just like, yeah, we can do it with Doom. Sure, why not? You know, like let's just easy pivot. So
I mean, we also have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness ended with him jumping in a portal with Clea
well, but that was with America Chavez though. So
No.
It's Clea at the very end.
In the Illuminati with the portal comes down.
Oh, okay, all right.
So they're hopping through realities. So I guess you could get a Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, and it would make sense because he's already seen one Mr. Fantastic from his
love
movie,
this shot.
Oh yeah,
I love this shot of the trailer. Oh.
I know he's not in it long, but I really felt like he was playing it exactly like Chris Evans from the old FF movie.
Well, something I saw is that people were saying like they're not like super jacked. Like Chris Evans was pretty jacked as Johnny Storm in those films, where he just looked like regular people.
Yeah.
You know, like Hollywood people, but regular people.
They made a point though of making Chris Evans run around in a towel. So I mean, really, it was
true. Doing this.
I mean,
who do we think John Malkovich is?
Oh, Red Ghost.
That's what I've heard as well. That's what
I've
heard as
heard
well.
Red Ghost.
So, are we gonna get apes in this movie?
I say Mole Man.
I wonder Woman too. Yeah, I kind of wonder.
Is a short, chubby dude? I don't think so.
No, you don't cast for the body type. You cast for the actor. And if you have John Malkovich and you want to play a great villain, I would put him in that because he was one of the first Fantastic Four villains.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I can't my brain. That's a good question. I'm wondering if it's not, and I can't figure out how this would work, but if it's not Leonardo da Vinci, because Hickman kept using Leonardo da Vinci as like a thing in like his war runs.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he kind of looks like Leonardo da Vinci, I think.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the most plausible one I've heard, Jeff, but I think it's my favorite one.
Well, yeah. I want to jump ahead for a second. What's everybody's thought on the fact that the Silver Surfers are going to be Shauna Bell and not Norrin Rad?
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Yeah,
I don't mind that.
Why they went that direction.
Here's my theory, and I think it's really just more. They know that some of this has been presented in the past, right? So my feeling was they've already presented a kind of canonical Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad, on film. Let's give them a different Silver Surfer, but a comic accurate Galactus, right? So that's just kind of where my brain was at. It was just more of like a practical thing. Can I just say a fucking comic accurate thing on screen that's believable? It's so amazing. I am so hyped for this.
I love it. I love how how thick his brow is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love the little rock sounds he makes when he's like the
clapping.
When he's clapping and the little rock sounds. I think this is probably my favorite version of the thing. And I was pretty partial to the Chickless version. I didn't think that was bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was terrible. I do like in the the unreleased Corman version. That's not a terrible thing, but the problem is the animatronics on the face. He's always scowling.
Yeah,
so
it's really
it's time.
It's hard to emote with all that shit.
Yeah.
What's the actor who plays the thing name?
What's the actor who plays the thing? Ivan. I don't remember his last name.
It's the guy from The Bear.
Yeah, I know. All I'm going to say is, I know it's going to be a while down the road, but for the love of me, I will boycott Marvel if we never get a Thing versus Hulk scene in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Oh God, that would be so cool.
Red Hulk.
No. Mark Ruffalo, Green Hulk versus the Thing. That's my big key point. I want that at least somewhere down the road, whether it be in a TV.
It'll happen in Infinity War, in Secret Wars.
I hope. Well, but if we still have Professor Hulk, it's going to have to be Red Hulk versus Thing, because I guarantee Professor Hulk's just going to want to talk to Reed the whole time. So,
is this, you guys think, when the Silver Surfer is arriving?
I think so. Yeah.
To herald the Galactus that's coming in the
next
shot.
I'm gonna be. This was the one scene where I was just like, I kind of wish that were bigger, because in the movie Independence Day, it looks awesome. Like those giant clouds rolling.
I just watched that yesterday,
and that just seems so tiny. I mean, that seems like the orbs we've got floating around now. So like, whatever.
I love the Fantastic Car so much. I just love it.
Yeah, I want a Fantastic Car like that.
I do too.
Where is the scene on the?
Ooh. I know it's really minor, but the redesign of Herbie, I am just so happy with the little tape reels for eyes. I paused it there and I just stared for like a minute because I love that design so much.
When I saw Herbie, cool. I got the same chills I did when I saw Crypto on the Superman trailer.
Yeah, same.
It's like,
yeah. Oh, I mean, because again, they're doing something where they are bringing in an otherwise reviled aspect from old media and modernizing it in a way that's going to be great and cool, and still classic fans will love it, so.
I do hope the one thing we see, because we do see Galactus at the end, his size, that they followed the comic story where as he consumes, he gets larger.
Yeah.
So we just see him grow over New York. That would be a cool effect.
I've seen in more recent stories that he can just adapt his size to like whatever he needs. So like he's usually larger than a planet, but if he needs to come into a planet, he can shrink down. So it doesn't rely so much on him consuming the planet anymore. It's just like more of like he can adapt to whatever he needs, like whatever size he needs to be. Maybe
see, in my head,
he needs to be smaller so that Reed can shoot him with that gun eventually.
Ultimate nullifier.
In my head, so Galactus, this is comics canon, is that he is different. He looks different to the viewer. Everybody sees Galactus different. So they whatever Galactus really looks like, the people can't perceive him. So you see Galactus kind of how you see yourself.
So that means
that means
the 616 universe all see him as the same thing.
If you're all human, so like the way it was described to me is like all humans see Galactus as a human, but if you were a dog, you would see like a dog version.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh.
So I do wonder if you like the more people that look at Galactus, maybe he gets bigger kind of thing. Because
we are live.
We are live.
I hadn't seen the comments.
Yeah, I see the comments, and it's a lot of hate. So I don't understand why you would hate so much on this, and we're not comparing it to Superman being, as far as like what the comments are showing up in here. We're talking about what we really love about Fantastic Four, and if you don't love it, then I'm sorry. You have a Corman version, you have cartoons, you have 2 other movie versions you can watch. I mean, there's a version from the '60s you can watch, and if you don't like Fantastic Four, why are you even here?
Plenty of comics too. Go read the Ryan North one. Everyone here seems to love it.
I just got it. I just got it this weekend.
Nice. Did you guys have any of these as kids? Any of these like
Man, I wish. You kidding me? I would have run around in a thing outfit.
I really like these the idea of these throwback materials.
Do you guys remember the SNL skit where they had where Bill Murray was playing Superman and they had the Thing show up in a huge costume?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's because Garrett Morris shows up as Ant-Man. That's why he shows up in the movie Ant-Man, because Adam McKay was working on it. I love that tie-in, because it just, for us old guys that remember that stuff.
Yeah.
I will say about one of the comments about the Thing looking not good. I think the Thing looks great, but I do miss. I was like, I wish we could just figure out a way to do a practical suit kind of thing.
Yeah. But they've attempted it like 3 times.
I feel like it's hard, but like we'll never get like an old school Ninja Turtle movie kind of
True,
thing.
with like the Henson Workshop. Well, although didn't the Henson Workshop work on the one for the Fox movies?
I don't think so.
I don't know, maybe.
Is that not them? All right. Anyway,
I like. They were talking about. I was watching a Patrick Willems video a while back, and they talked about how they shot where the wild things are, and how all those suits were practical. But for the faces were digital, or the faces were CGI stuff. But they had practical suits, and just where they needed to.
And I mean, from like some of the set shots I've seen on social media, it looked like they put him in a practical Thing suit, and I don't know if maybe that was just for blocking or like setting up shots. Yeah, acting.
I can only act against a Thing if I see the Thing.
Exactly. Where do my eyes go? Evan's only this tall.
I think they got what's his name? They got Dr. Tobias Funke to do some of the body motion. He has because he had a Thing suit available to him. Luckily,
he had to get his rocks off to share it. So.
Is the Ultimate Nullifier going to be the new Infinity Gauntlet? Is it going to be the new power thing? I mean, and that's just assuming that it shows up in this.
It's got to.
God, that would be wild if Reed invents that and loses it to Doom, and that's how we go into.
Yeah, I really feel like Doom is, because all the people are like, well, we didn't see Doom in the trailer. It's going to be right at the end or an end credit scene. I mean, it's, like how we got the Council of Kang. And
but is the Doom we're going to get, is he from that Earth or from another Earth?
Is it Tony?
I don't know. I kind of want it to be like another Doom. I want Tony Doom to be separate from like the main villain that we get Doom. But I don't know if they can pull that off too. Like that's a lot of casting people.
Well, I've even heard rumors that apparently that the Tony Doom that we're getting, we're not going to see any more after Secret Wars. Like that like if we have a few.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, that guy cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Here's a just a Hail Mary wild idea. What if the end credit scene of this movie is they recreate the Council of Kings, but it's the Council of Reeds?
I was thinking about the Council of Reeds and if we would see that at the end, but
because I mean, imagine. Okay, so this film, it's all very bright and hopeful, right?
Yeah.
And again, I love how the entire through line of the trailer is family, which is what this needs to be. Not in a Fast and Furious kind of way, but eating ice cream. Yeah, exactly. Haagen-Dazs. But yeah, true. But my thing is, if he meets the Council of Reeds, is that what kind of turns him, right? He realizes, oh, maybe there are bad versions of me out there. Because that's the point of the Council of Reeds, right? Is that there are Reeds out there who become so obsessed with their research and their science and their ideas that they don't have the anchor of the family. So
yeah,
I don't know. It'd be really
usually when they lose one of the members of the family, that's when things start. When Reed starts spiraling.
Yeah.
Now, another thing I heard, and you guys let me know, that there's at least one of the kids that's supposed to be a part of this movie, and they're just they haven't really shown anything.
Wait,
really?
Yeah,
Franklin.
That's what people are saying. Maybe that's why Galactus is coming to Earth to get.
Because then that would introduce a mutant into that universe as well.
Oh, you're right.
It's all fair game now, so they can do whatever they want.
Morbius is Johnny meeting Peter.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And we get the amazing Bagman. That'd be great. I would love that.
Well, I just love the fact coming off the last Spider-Man film, you've got a lonely Peter Parker who has nobody.
Yeah, you're right.
And so, what if his first friend is like Johnny?
God,
and it's a guy he can relate to, but it's not Ned. You think?
I would love a what if film where if Spider-Man joins, it's the Fantastic Five.
No. Even better. What if they just recreate the scene where he tries to join the Fantastic Four because he needs money? Because he's, this kind of down on his dumps kid again in New York. So
there's so many.
You could get Ben Grimm to quit and then have She-Hulk join because you've already got She-Hulk there.
Yep. We need more She-Hulk in the MCU. I'm still pissed about that. Bring her back, goddammit. If she doesn't appear in Born Again, I'm gonna just throw shit.
Well, they've already said that. Well, I don't know how much this is true, but they already said that Matt Murdock that was in She-Hulk is not gonna be the Matt Murdock that we see in Born Again. So
well, of course not. Matt Murdock's not Daredevil. He has a whole sweater to prove it.
It's called Daredevil Born Again, not Daredevil Smash Again.
That's right. Yeah. All right, we're winding down to the trailer talk. Is there anything else? Any last thoughts before we get into our? We prepared some menu items that we want to see at our local theaters for the Fantastic Four. So, any last thoughts on the actual trailer? I mean, we don't have a lot. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds, so there's definitely not a lot to.
I actually feel like they gave us more than they could have. Right, I feel like we actually got a fair amount, which is again why I think it's telling we don't see Reed use his powers. I think he's not going to have powers. Honestly,
I don't think he does either. I don't think he does in the beginning of the film either. So I'm also interested. Like, why are they showing this guy around? Like, what are they like? Who is that guy that they're showing around?
Yeah, I'm assuming an investor, maybe, or.
I mean, they used to do those interviews where they would, with the first lady would take you on tour through the White House and talk about everything. So I feel like that they're seen as the first family of science. So maybe they're hugely popular in a world where intelligence matters.
The first influencers.
I do love the idea, and I hope this plays in the movie that it's not a secret rocket launcher. They get their powers and then become famous. They are famous beforehand, right? Yeah. And we see that in the footage. They're on TV before they go up in the rockets. So,
I mean, astronauts used to be real they'd be like kind of like rock stars back in the day, right? So
Hey, again, I brought it up before. I posted the link in our private chat. If you just want a sense, like Clay was saying earlier, of what it felt like during the space race, go read the Onion's parody of the headline for the day that we landed on the moon. It is, it's so good. And it uses the word fuck like 85 times. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
You'll have to bleep that. I'm sorry, Danny.
That's fine. If I don't take it down, no one will. All right, let's spend these before we get into our other stuff that we're going to talk about. Let's go over our menu items, and I guess we'll just go in order of the notes. Josh, you have a pretty extensive menu. You are like one of those full sit down tavern movie things places. So what do you got for us?
I kind of felt like mine was pretty basic because, again, we were inspired by like how the Alamo makes special menu items. I went like, my thing was, if we're talking about the Fantastic Four, you can't have them be separate. It has to be a full meal. So I have a savory and a sweet. All right. The savory is the FF family meal. You have spaghetti. That's for Reed. Parmesan crusted meatballs. That's for Ben. Ghost pepper marinara. That's for Johnny. And then to drink, you have a 3-liter Crystal Pepsi. And that's for Sue. Because for fuck's sake, how do you come up with invisible food? All right. That was the hardest thing. So Crystal Pepsi, if you don't remember, was just Pepsi without the dye in it. And then I was also thinking afterwards, you have to have candy at the movie theater. So I also have a sweet variant. Bubble tape for Reed. Pop Rocks for Ben. Fireballs for Johnny. Wax soda bottles with Crystal Pepsi for Sue. So there you go.
You better get an extra strength toilet at your theater after serving this menu.
Yeah,
especially that Crystal Pepsi. I believe that had some side effects.
Yeah,
if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, little thing called anal leakage. So.
Well, I don't think that's ever been said on the podcast, so that's a first.
No, boy, that's getting clipped and living on the internet forever.
That's right. All right, Clay, what are you serving at your theater?
Again, it's hard to come up with invisible food, but I came up with Invisible Woman's clear Jello body shots, which would be Jello body shots in the shape of Invisible Woman that you could have the torso and just do a shot of the Invisible Woman. For Reed, a giant salted soft pretzel with fantastic sauce.
Nice.
I feel like Reed should be more of a plain pretzel, but yeah, I get what you're
the
going.
Salt is for the side.
It's the salt and pepper hair. Yeah. Okay. I am worried what's in fantastic sauce, but Sue knows.
Johnny's or Human Torch's hot wings, so hot you shoot flames.
Special bathroom.
The Thing's cornballers with fantastic sauce.
Cornballers.
I kept thinking of the whatever that thing in Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. They keep burning themselves on it.
Yeah.
And actually, I stole this one from Jeff because I saw Jeff had put down a Earth variant. So my Earth variant that you could eat as Galactus is made out of cotton candy.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's smart.
And then one final deep cut, a Willy Lumpkin cookie. It's shaped like an envelope, and it has the Fantastic Four's address in the Baxter Building.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Willy Lumpkin is their postman, as portrayed by Stan Lee in one of the films, I think, right?
I think the first one.
Yeah, first one.
I think it's the first one.
All right.
And he was at the wedding in the second one, I believe.
He was at the wedding. Yeah. Your postman is an important part of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, remember who was the minister in that one?
Who?
Brian Posehn.
No way, really?
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Daredevil or Deadpool writer Brian.
This is Armani. This is Armani.
It's weird to me that they went with the joke for like Stanley couldn't get into the wedding instead of him. He should have been the officiant.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Maybe he didn't want to write a wedding issue. So that's their payback. All right, Jeff. Yeah. So I know Clay already kind of riffed on your thing, but what did you?
Yeah. Well, when I I was when you came up with the question, like, what food would we serve for Fantastic Four? I was like, I got to think about this. That's hard. And then Josh like knocked it out of the park. With, like, all his stuff. Because I was just like, I don't know, like. I would say the Pop Rock should go with an orange soda. So you should have like an orange soda with a bunch of ice, and then put the Pop Rock.
That's good.
The only thing I came up with was just like you need a giant popcorn ball that is like shaped like the Earth, so you could pretend to be Galactus. You could like do colored popcorn, so it kind of looks like the Earth. The only other thing I would do is since popcorn buckets are the thing. You need like a clear plastic popcorn bucket with hands already on it, and that could be like the Sue popcorn bucket.
That's good.
Oh yeah,
because I did briefly conceive of for Sue just having like an empty glass or bowl, like just being an absolute dick about it.
Yeah.
But shouldn't? Okay, I'm going to go full hog here. Shouldn't the special popcorn bucket just be Galactus's helmet, so when you're done, you can wear it?
Just all that butter.
I would just slides on it off.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much of this. When I asked you guys the question, I was like, I don't know how much they're gonna actually dig into it. And then I look at the notes and I'm like, oh geez, Josh is opening like 3 restaurants. All right.
Josh is making specialty drinks that like flame and like.
I'm just glad you guys appreciate it. I came up with mine. It's like this is real basic, but
Josh threw on the movie Cocktail and just started going.
I wasn't going to do it first because it was so late, and so Shelby like goes, "Come on, we can do this. We can come up." So she came up with the Crystal Pepsi, and then I went in the notes and I said, Josh has already done the Crystal Pepsi bit.
I know she tweeted me on Blue Sky about that. We're both geniuses, I have to say.
You are.
All right. Well, let me go through mine real quick. So I had Mr. Fantastic super stretchy mozzarella sticks.
Ooh, that's
blue.
Huh?
Would they be blue? Like, would you try to stay with the theme and have blue colored food?
Oh, that's gross. I don't want to eat blue food.
Blue food caused a visceral reaction.
Yeah. We have Johnny's Flaming Hot Chicken because hot chicken's all the rage anyway. So
nice.
Might as well take advantage of that. Ben's cheddar caramel, and kettle corn popcorn.
That's good.
Like a combination because they all kind of end up looking like shades of the thing, anyways. This one's my favorite, I think. I was gonna go with Sue's salad, just as a Parks and Rec joke.
Yeah.
But then I went Sue's Surf and Turf, which is a Laverian steak cooked to order, and Namor's catch of the day.
Oh, that is good. That's really good.
I like that.
Because of Sue's main suitors. I don't know how I get why they hate Reed, especially after seeing Vanessa Kirby. I'm like, I get it. I understand.
Yeah,
those guys did nothing wrong. We have a Galactus size unlimited fountain drink. Once again, another
perfect
big Parks and Rec
like child size.
Well, and it's the shape of the helmet, right? So it's like you got 2 big handles to like just go to town on it.
Oh wow!
And Silver Surfer size pancakes.
Oh, nice! Oh, I like that.
I started to come up with an idea for the scroll because I always associate the scroll with the FF, but now that we've kind of lost them, it's kind of a bummer. I was like, are we even going to have any aliens associated with the FF in this? Because we have the Badoon we've never used. There's a few alien options that I kind of thought were neat, and I only came up with one item for scrolls. It was like, no matter what you eat, it's going to come out green. So.
I was going to say, I'm going to add one thing to my list, and it's going to be one shot of Ozempic called the Ultimate Nullifier after you.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That is good.
Yeah, you can get those semaglutides anywhere now. All right. Well, that's been our Fantastic Four talk, and I'm a little hungry now. But let's before we get into what we've been reading and doing stuff, Clay, do you have the results of our movie thing?
I gave them to you, so I thought you had them, but I
was clicking the link, but it won't let me open it, so I don't know if you might have shut that down. The Google Docs.
I didn't.
Like it's on the Discord, but I can't access to it. I don't have access to it.
Let me pull it up.
But yeah, if for those that don't remember, and we last year we drafted a bunch of movies, and we're gonna look at the end of the year, like afterwards, the box office for the US to see who made more. We don't have to go too deep into it, and we're gonna do it again probably. I was thinking around March to just kind of let some of the dates settle, even if that means we lose Captain America: Brave New World as part of that pool of movies. But yeah,
just to, while you guys are loading this up, July is when Fantastic Four comes out along with Superman and Jurassic Park.
World. Yeah.
So it's going to be a crazy month.
Okay, so I had taken our list of the top 100 films and then sorted them by type and our picks.
Can you zoom in a little, just like one more click on the sheets?
How about?
Yeah, that should be good. There you go. Perfect.
150. I can go 150.
Go do it.
That works. Oh, excellent. All right.
Okay, so it breaks it down through worldwide, domestic, foreign, and our picks, because we each had something that placed, and it's interesting to see like where kind of our numbers landed for all of our picks. Yeah. Jeff and Josh had 2 films that didn't make the top 100 that we had to like look up the numbers for, but Josh had the first pick with Inside Out 2, so that was like a freaking monster. Jeff with Deadpool and Wolverine, another monster, but Wicked was the big surprise. I think we all doubted the musical.
I think you're right.
And Jeff believed in it. And that was just a huge win. I still can't believe Twisters was number 15. So these are our total numbers. For just picking 6 films, we all made over $1 billion worldwide.
Wow.
But
I wish that was real money.
Yeah, domestically, Jeff did the best.
Nice.
He had the best pick, but I mean, those 2 films were like so huge. Like, well, I mean, even Twisters, like I can't believe it placed 15th. So, like, they were massive. Josh in second. I came in third. I think what hurt Daniel the most was Joker.
Joker fully adieu, because that was my first round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a high expectation level that was going to surpass the first film, and wow, it did not. So that's how we did. Those are our numbers.
I am shocked that I won in 2 categories, especially with Jeff having those 2 monster picks.
You just very in tune to the foreign office, to the foreign box office, John.
Yeah. So I feel like, for me, the big ones were obviously Inside Out 2 and Nosferatu. Is that right? Or did I have a third one in there?
Gladiator 2 was 11th. Beetlejuice was 12.
My God, I can't believe I picked that many winners. Wow.
Yeah. And it's even with Borderlands, which was a total bomb.
I did, yeah. And I think I had pretty high hopes for Borderlands too, so that's shocking.
Even with the Inside Out 2.
I'm still upset that America turned its back on Kevin Costner.
Yeah. So is he. He lost.
Yeah. Scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit, Clay. So my biggest, I was just trying to look at my biggest. Okay, Romulus. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, man. No, not even having one. Woof. Yeah. And then scroll up to yours just to see what's at the top.
Hollywood, Josh and I are available. We're obviously we know how to make money.
And don't look at the fact that I also picked Thelma, but still. Or is that you, Jeff? One of us picked Thelma.
I picked Thelma.
Okay.
You picked the Fabulous 4.
I picked the Fabulous 4. That's right. I was confused. I really thought Fantastic Four was coming earlier.
I can't really figure out why Harold and the Purple Crayon was so bad, because typically kids' movies do pretty well. So it was like
I think it's what's his face was in it, and also why did they make a movie about that? But apparently, it's been doing very well on streaming. I was reading somewhere it's had this like resurgence in streaming. So
it may be something where parents don't want to pay to see Zachary Levi, but they'll let their kids watch it in the other room.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
I had high expectations for Wild Robot.
Me too. I mean, it was a very good movie. It's nominated for an Oscar, but yeah.
Which again, I think has been having a resurgence on streaming.
Yeah.
How did we do? Or I think I picked Lee later. Yeah, it's not even on there. All right, that's fine. I'm gonna go see Lee.
I think we changed it. I think we changed it because it wasn't coming out or something. Maybe
97.
Damn.
Wow. All right.
All right. Great. Thank you, Clay. Thank you for the results.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll do this again probably closer to March. I'm thinking.
And if Jeff and I do as well the second time, we really need to be hired by Hollywood.
Right.
Or maybe you should start your own theater.
Do we now get the draft pick numbers? So 4, 3, 2, 1 gets to pick.
I would hope so.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
No, we need to hold a draft. So the bottom people have to pick between 1 and 2 to see who goes first.
Yeah.
And then
I just want to go on the record.
I am going to trade Luca though for.
I can't believe they did that to us. I know we don't talk sports here, but come on. What the fuck, Mavericks?
The billionaires have holds of the sports franchises, and now that's going to upset people when they start to tank them because they don't get legal gambling in Dallas.
This is my favorite conspiracy theory going right now.
Yeah, they're going to tank it for 2 years because Dallas doesn't have legal gambling and won't have it. And then when they can move it, they're going to move the Dallas Mavericks to Las Vegas.
I just assume they're pulling a Zaslav and want a tax write-off.
That's a hell of a tax write-off for an entire basketball team.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not out of the question because owners always try to move teams. We totally hijacked this into a sports show, but owners have always tried to move teams out of other towns because they're not profitable or whatever.
Yeah, I will tell you when I quit watching sports was when the Dallas Mavericks traded Michael Finley to San Antonio and still had to pay him $50 million to win a championship for them. And I go, I'm just watching a business. I'm just watching IBM and they're just companies making decisions.
More like IBS.
And so it was like, it's not fun. It's not fun to watch anymore. So it was just like, I gave up. And people have forgotten that Dallas traded one of the worst trades they ever had was for Sean Bradley back in the day. Yeah. 7'6" kid who barely could dunk, could barely play.
Hey, but he was in Space Jam, all right? So
he hit his head on the
now that trade has been outdone by the Luka trade as the worst sports trade in history.
Look, nothing against Anthony Davis. He's just no Luka. Like,
I have no dog in this fight.
Well, you should. They're your Mavericks, Josh.
For 2 more
years. I do think that print media is dead because nobody, like the Los Angeles Times, nobody was like, Luka, what we found, or Luka, what I brought home. Like, if this were the 80s, headlines galore with bad puns.
You're right.
Nothing is fun.
Man lands on fucking moon.
That's enough sports talk. If Timothy Chalamet could do it and he can go on the ESPN College Center
on the weekend of the Super Bowl.
That's right.
On the weekend of the Super Bowl, we're going to talk some sports.
God, that's another thing that I'm like, I don't even care who wins tomorrow. I can't root for Philly as a Cowboys fan. And I know. Same like fan of the Cowboys. But I also don't. I'm tired of KC winning. So like, whatever. We're watching the.
That's why you got to watch the Puppy Bowl. Yeah,
that's right.
They used to do the lingerie bowl. I don't think they do it anymore.
No, I don't think so.
They don't.
Well, they should do it with just a bunch of people, everyone, like all types of people in lingerie.
Yeah.
Right.
I look great in fishnets. I don't know you guys talking about.
There you go. There you go. Josh is available.
Josh is available.
I've got the walk down.
You'd be out there in his jorts.
All right. We're gonna talk about we have a lot of comics to talk about, so we're just gonna talk about comics first, and then if we have time, we'll talk about TV and movies.
Oh yeah.
Let me kick things off, and I'll start with some of the things that didn't come out this week, and I'll just jump in whenever you guys talk about new comics. So, well, maybe this come out this week. I read Batman Off-World 1 through 6. I did a whole video about it. This is the story by Jason Aaron, Doug Mahnke on art, where Batman goes to space to learn how to fight aliens so that he can fight aliens in Gotham. It's pretty fucking cool. Like, I really love the story.
One day we will see a Half-Tamarian Bat Baby.
Oh,
15, 20 years from now, but somebody's going to bring back fact that Batman slept with a Tamarian.
Oh, if it's Corey, I swear to God,
it's not. It's her name is Eon. She was like a pirate or something. Because of course Batman would hook up with a space pirate.
Yeah.
It's a really cool story. It's really fun. I don't know what he whispered to that child, but obviously Batman fucks. So like, yeah, it's really good. All right.
It is good that you waited to read it because it took forever for it to come out.
That's why I was waiting, and then I saw your video saying like, "Oh, this is finally out." I was like, "Let's do it." Here we go. Because I was like, I think because if you don't follow Jeff on social media, he puts up like whenever he goes to the comic book shop, and then you mentioned that it was finally the last one. I wasn't sure if it was or not. I knew it was coming out. I just didn't know if it was. Sometimes they do 6, sometimes they do 8.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep, 6, perfect. All right, now I can read it." And
I flipped to the end of it first, just to see if there was like an ending kind of feel to it.
Like
I was like,
fiend
okay, this is the last
at the end, you know?
Yeah, like a fiend. Well, because I got tricked by what is it, Gargoyle of Gotham? Because it had been so long when Gargoyle of Gotham 3 came out that I might have 2 copies of Gargoyle of Gotham 2, but I completely forgotten what happened in 2, so I had to go out and buy a second issue. Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm waiting on that one too.
And am I wrong, Jeff? Issue 3 felt like it had way more color in it than issue 1 and 2. I should just go back and open them, but I'm reading them like I don't remember this much color. I thought it was like black and white and red. Like that's what
the first one I feel like, well, and it might have been
like an orange. There's like an orange in the
okay, yeah. There's a lot of color in issue 3, like a lot.
It's colored, but it's definitely very dark. The first one, so
yeah. Okay.
Also, I've been on a kick. I don't know why. I've been trying to read a bunch of stuff by Hayden Sherman, artist Hayden Sherman.
Nice.
Currently doing Absolute Wonder Woman. I think also the Batman Dark Matters book. And I found some stuff that he did over at IW when they were trying to do some of the originals that I knew. I read the first issues, but I didn't go back and finish them. So I read Dark Spaces, Wildfires. This is by Scott Snyder, Hayden Sherman from IDW. 6 issues. It's about this crew, and timely enough, like this is about a crew of prison firefighters that are fighting a wildfire in California, and they decide to go into the hills, in one of the houses in the hills, and rob it because they know there's a lot of money in there for some reason. It's a really interesting book. It looks great. It's like just the idea of like these firefighters twist and turn. So I really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's Scott Snyder, so like I knew it was gonna be good. I just don't know why I'm on this Hayden Sherman kick, but his art is so cool.
It's really good in the Batman Dark
Matters.
Dark Matters, thank you. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that one's pretty gnarly too. With that.
Oh boy, yeah,
with all the nails.
Yeah. Oh. And like the rebar, and it's terrible.
And then I also read Dark Spaces. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
FMK, Scott Snyder, Zack Snyder, Snyders of Hanover pretzels.
I think I would F Zack, marry Scott, and kill the pretzels.
Kill the pretzels. Okay, we needed to get that for the public. Really,
I think that's the right. I'm sure that's the right order. I think Zack Snyder's too wild of a ride for me to marry him. But I think we could do something in one night. You know, we'll put on the Justice League cut. Just have it on in the background. Have a great Netflix and chill.
Yeah, beautiful night.
You know what?
Night.
Actually, we're gonna make it a marathon. So we're gonna start with the Man of Steel, then watch BBS Uncut, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League, and just watch the whole trilogy. And have a great time. We might throw in Dawn of the Dead just as a kicker at the end.
Yes.
So there you go.
What a beautiful night. All right.
I'm having palpitations thinking about it right now. All right. Also, I hear that if you're one of those people that loves true crime as your escape, that you might be kind of a psychopath. So I read Dark Spaces Dungeon, which is about a serial killer, or not a serial killer, a serial kidnapper. So this individual takes people, puts them in these dungeons where like he tortures them for years and years, and then they either die or he lets them go or whatever. So we follow a detective that's escaped when he was a child from one of those dungeons, and he grew up to be a detective or an agent or a marshal or something like that. Once again, Scott Snyder, Hayden Sherman, another one of these IDW originals. I don't know why they stopped making those. Maybe they just didn't make a lot of money. But man, I'm going back through reading them. There's so many. There's like 6 of them. There's another one called like Hollywood Stories that I can't wait to get into. Another one called Good Deeds that I did check out the first issue. But yeah, I'll make longer videos about both the Wildfires and Dungeon. But man, oh man, what a great set of books there. So I'll stop there. We'll go to the next person since there's a bunch of us doing stuff here. Clay. Yeah, me too.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, how's that? I think it's
hello. There it is. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta mute. Well, I'll let you go since you might have to step away in a few minutes. So
yeah, and I've got a quick one. I went through the A-Force books, the book that kind of spun out of Secret Wars, and it's G. Willow Wilson going into Kelly Thompson in the last one. It's it's a team up you're never going to see of like She-Hulk, Medusa, Captain Marvel, Nico from the Runaways, and Dazzler meeting a character called that's made of what is it? What is she made of? It's like a matter antimatter type character that they try to save. It's interesting. I enjoy it from the Secret Wars. Then it launches into its own regular series, which is kind of weird because it's like, well, we have this group that teams up together. When are you ever going to see like Medusa hanging out with She-Hulk? Like, they're just normal characters that you don't see interact, and you see different versions of Dazzler, which is kind of fun. Which hints at the fact that she's died multiple times and come back to life, which I wasn't aware of. Have you guys read that in Dazzler's mythology that she's died multiple times?
No idea.
This book, it references 4 times because she goes from roller disco to punk version, and so it's not the punk version that was in Ultimate X-Men, but like more of I'd almost say like maybe a glam rocker kind of look, but she kind of has a little edgier attitude about it.
Are they using death to mean like music styles?
I don't know. I mean, when I read that, I was like, I'm going to have to go back through it. Shelby has one of the Dazzler Essentials, so it's got like all kind of her first run of stories that I may check out to find the history on. But I enjoyed these, and then it kind of got me thinking, like, we do have Secret Wars coming up. Are we going to get weird spinoffs like this? Are we going to get characters who've never interacted maybe have like a one-off show or something that might be kind of interesting to play around with, because we'll have characters that are going to be introduced for the first time suddenly put into things that that they're not used to. Like, that's what I'm kind of hopeful. And it made me come up with another theory that from the Hickman's run of Secret Wars, are we gonna see maybe a Chris Evans Thor, the way the Thor of the police in that Secret Wars world? That's the secret casting that Chris Evans is going to show up because he can wield Mjolnir.
We have it's called Law and Order.
But yeah, that's all I've been reading. But like I said, I was able to get over to Zeus, and they had, like, Shelby's been looking for this at Half Price Books. I haven't been able to find a copy. This was the first time we were able to score a copy, and I'm so excited to start this because all you guys have hyped it. I've not heard a bad word about it.
So, no, it's great. It's great.
And then also discovered that the Trailer Park Boys put out a comic book back in the day, and so like I picked that up, and I'm super hyped to read it.
Awesome. All right, let's go. We'll just go in order here. Josh, you go next.
Yeah, I'm pretty fast this week. Picked up Black Cloak issue 11, which I'm so far behind on. I'm just buying them to basically sit down and read as a kind of like collection later, you know. So
I decided to just do the trade when.
That makes sense. I still love this book. So, sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
I was going to say the second series is definitely a trade weight. I got so confused reading an issue to issue. Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of glad that I just stumbled into it. I just fell so far behind. But yeah. This one was just kind of taking a shot at something, but I did see it was also written by Steve Orlando, and that is Ripperland #1. Anyone else read this?
No, I remember getting the comp for it, Dark Horse, and I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting."
Yeah, you might want to check it out. It has an interesting conceit, which is it is actually 2188, so rather far into the future, and or maybe 2088. Anyway, it's in the future from now, but it's very much 1,000 years since. Or 100 years. God, I can't do time. A century or two centuries since Jack the Ripper. And because of Brexit, all of England basically just like went under financially. So America came in. It feels weirdly topical at the moment. America came in to save them, but they only saved them by saying, you have to basically become a theme park. And why don't you just become a theme park for the period that all Americans really like, which is the Victorian era? And so basically a Jack the Ripper type person begins murdering people, and an American cop is sent in to supervise it. This guy is the British cop who they're all kind of frowned upon because you can't use any technology in London. It ruins the theme park, right? It's a great conceit. I really liked it. The art is really hit or miss because the artist, and I don't want to like poo-poo him, John Harris Dunning is basically really trying to do fairly well the same art style as, I'm blanking on his goddamn name, the guy that did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Kevin
O'Neill,
thank you. So it's very Kevin O'Neill, but what I find weird is sometimes his faces don't really work. I don't know. It's weird, but he does a pretty good O'Neill-esque style. Anyway, check this out if you kind of like the conceit. So I picked up Cruel Kingdom issue 2, and I realized I didn't get a chance to talk about the first issue with you guys. I was not a big fan of the first issue. And the reason why is because of the stories in it, 2 of them felt like they're basically sci-fi stories with, we're just going to put the veneer of fantasy on it. And I'm sorry, when they're going to go with a fantasy type EC book, I want fantasy. I don't want a sci-fi story masquerading as fantasy. This one hit the nail on the head. All of these are fantasy-based stories. They're really good. Again, so I felt like, I don't know if maybe they just had stories left over from the sci-fi run or what, but yeah, this was great. Really good.
The first story was my favorite maybe in that one.
It was good. I did like that with the sword.
But they're all pretty good.
Yeah,
Jeff, you have this on your list as well. Did you read it as well?
I did read it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was just looking through it. I was like, I do agree with Josh. Because after reading the first one, I was like, that feels a little sci-fi as well.
Yeah.
I always get sci-fi and fantasy like just because they're grouped together in the bookstores. Like in my head, they always kind of get grouped together anyway.
But I can see how a robot king story could be considered more fantasy than more sci-fi than fantasy.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It is a cool ass cover though. That
castle. That is awesome.
One of the instances where I like all the alt covers, I was like, fuck that, I'm getting the main cover. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Nice.
And then so my very last item, I had to pick this up. It's massive, by the way. Just point of comparison.
Oh wow.
This is the facsimile combining the original 3 issues of the Untold Legend of the Batman. I just want to point something out real quickly. This thing is beautifully printed. I love it when facsimiles don't go with glossy paper and the coloring feels like the original. Like this thing is just, it's just pristinely printed. I love it so much. I really like this. So it's basically 3 issues that took all the lore of Batman from the comics at that point and then just packages them together and retells them with a kind of cool hook, which is that somebody is stealing and sabotaging things in the Batcave and leaving notes behind. And so Batman has to figure out like who has access to the Batcave. That said, this is basically the solo of the Batman universe, which is we're going to explain every single thing about Batman in this one book. Everything you know about him, we're explaining right now. So it was great. I think the ending is a bit weak. But again, it was in the 70s, so take that with a grain of salt.
Nice.
Anyway, very good. If you've ever wondered what it was like to get all the lore about Batman before we had Crisis, there you go.
Gimme.
Yeah. I'm amazed you didn't buy this, Danny, actually.
I haven't been to Titan this week, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah,
it's pricey. It's $13, but
yeah. I also don't know where I would put those big books. Like,
I really thought this was more magazine size, which I've got boxes for. And then Richard hands it to me. I'm like, holy shit, this thing is enormous. So
yeah, it's like some other
like the Superman versus Spider-Man book from the 70s. Like the
it's like a weird big format that they have. Because I asked Jeremy, he's like, I don't have anything to put those in.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So of course they're advertising the Superman versus Muhammad Ali, which was the same size originally.
Which I think they reprinted in that size too recently.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I've been like, I also have Treasury comics, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. Like, I need to go to like, I don't even know how to store them. Like, I don't.
They're on a bookshelf. They're on a bookshelf.
I have some up on the bookshelf right now.
But if you don't have enough, they'll flop around until like.
No, I got enough books to hold them up, so it's like.
Oh, okay.
I put it nicely.
That's a lot of work.
What is this? Don't have enough books for a shelf idea. I've never experienced that. Just look behind me.
Thick books.
Yeah.
I don't want to mix my comics with my other stuff.
They'll get
comics. I don't want to mix my comics with my one copy of 1984 from high school.
the one book you own without pictures in it.
I was actually I was listeing to The Alchemist the other day as a book, audiobook, because Jeremy Irons is narrating.
Really?
So I was like, "Oh, Scar telling me a bedtime story." All right, Kyle, what have you been reading in these past few months? I'm just kidding. Just the past week.
Well, I mean, I think I talked to you last time. Like, I've just become jaded with new stuff. I'm still reading. I have a site I go to read new stuff, but I'm just not collecting anything new anymore. Like, I'll keep up with the stories, but I just I'm only like any stuff I'm buying is like unless it's trade paperback, I'm buying old stuff. So like, I mean, this past week I read I don't know if you guys talked about it last week, but Nacelle, the Nacelle company that's been doing like some of the 80s properties, just to issue one last week of Silverhawks, which is still a property I'm still totally on board for. And the book is nice. I gotta admit, it still kind of plays along how the original pilot episode did, but it's a different story where basically you have Stargazer, who's the guy who's have his face in gold and everything, and they had arrested Monstar, and then all of Monster's minions break him out, and basically you have Quicksilver, who's the head of the Silverhawks. He has I guess he's in charge of a police team. They try to stop him, but they all get taken out, and so he basically issue ends with him in a chamber breaking out. What happened to me? And he's basically become the Silverhawk. But before that, you have Stargazer with his original 5 team member of the old Silverhawks. It's going to be an old Silverhawks mentoring the new team. So I'm kind of looking forward to see where this goes. Not to mention that Nacelle's also working on an new animated Silverhawks series, and Super 7 are about to release their first wave of Silverhawk reaction figures, which actually look pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think they're doing a bunch. They're doing one about the insects, whatever that one's
Insectars.
called.
Yeah, you've got RoboForce, you got Insectars, you got Power Lords, which that issue 1 just came out recently.
Biker from
Mars. Yeah, and a couple others. Yep. So it's Nacelle is making their own contained universe. So all these properties are all in the same universe, which is kind of cool.
I think from via Mad Cave, if I'm not mistaken.
From what?
I think it's via Mad Cave Comics.
Yeah.
Except for Silverhawks. Silverhawks is a Dynamite.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if this is part of that same universe.
Still, that looks beautiful. Like I've always been
Silverhawks, super cool.
I love Silverhawks. So,
yeah. I didn't remember anything, but when I saw that the villain, I was like, oh, I remember this guy from the cartoon for sure.
Oh yeah. So I may have to pick those up.
Nice.
I also read the new Shazam this week, where basically it's Shazam teaming up with Jonathan Kent. So apparently, so in Shazam, it's the dynamics a little different. I've been reading that, so where basically Shazam and Billy are kind of, even though they're the same person, they're sort of 2 different entities. So basically, like there was a point where the 6 gods of Shazam were trying to weren't sure if Billy should be the chosen one anymore, and so they were kind of taking over, and so now all of them make up an entity of Shazam. So basically, when Shazam is Shazam, he's still kind of in contact with Billy, and they kind of talk to each other mentally. And so they have a T-Rex dinosaur butler who's in the Cave of Infinity, who's taking care of everything. And he releases like this imp, and the magic somehow hits Jonathan, and he gets shrunk back down to like his little boy size. So it's Shazam. He's having fun with Shazam, and it's like, like they're having like a sleepover and make sure that he has fun. So it's an interesting little story.
Is it Mark Waid still writing that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And then let me see what else do I have on there. Oh yeah, Wolverine the current Wolverine number 6, which has been interesting because there's this new entity called Adamantiumite or something like, who's basically trying to take back all of the adamantium that's on Earth. And so anybody who has adamantium in them, like Cypher or Lady Deathstrike, are kind of going crazy. So it's and it's also in the story you find out that there's a new Wendigo who's like an 8-year-old boy. So Wolverine's having to try to help him become, like, trying to control his urge to want to kill people, and him teaming up with Nightcrawler and the other Wolverine, his daughter, to basically try to stop what's going on. So I don't know where they're going this direction. And then currently the JSA is where the Injustice Society has. So the current storyline is like the JSA is kind of being split down the middle. You have a younger team who is kind of like thinking they should be a little more aggressive, and you have the older team who are still trying to use their own ways, but they've been split. And so half of the team is stuck in limbo with Fate's tower, and the other team is on Earth trying to figure out what's going on, and the Injustice Society is kind of the middleman. And so this current issue is basically Dr. Midnight Beth, who's been captured. And so it starts out with her being held captive by Solomon Grundy, but she's able to outsmart him and she escapes. And so it's just like you're finding more and more where the story is going. So everything I'm reading about the All-In universe kind of right now, I'm kind of digging, because I like the kind of like Justice League Unlimited, the fact that you bring all the teams. And so like there's satellite. Titans have their own thing. The JSA have their own little area. It's like a conglomeration. Like all the heroes together are working together, and so I'm interested to see where the All-In universe might kind of go. And then real quick, I picked these up the last couple of weeks. Half price books I was able to find. The second conglomeration of Ninja High School been done. If you never read this is like the most crazy kind of like manga you could find, because it's like he rips in the 80s. He was ripping off everything from RoboCop, the Power Rangers, to Voltron, like Space Battleship Yamato, Starblaze. It's all in here. He just took whatever license he liked and made it into part of the story. So it's kind of cool. And then I found at Half-Price Books of Irving, Planet Terry. This is one of Star Comics. So it's number 1. And I was also able to find out the Conan the King Marvel 20th anniversary cover. So
nice. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm still collecting some stuff. I don't know. It's like I have a weird relationship with the new stuff right now. I'm just kind of burnt out and just kind of seeing where they kind of go.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot to pick from.
Yeah, but I would definitely recommend, if you guys, I would definitely recommend the Silverhawks number 1. At least with the first issue, it sounds like they're going to an interesting, different direction.
I almost picked that up, so I'm glad to hear that. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, and like I guess like Daniel, they have multiple different covers you can choose from. So
so many.
So many.
Yeah, that was tough to pick just one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jeff, what else have you been reading?
I picked up, this came out a couple of weeks ago, but I picked up Seasons number 1. I was afraid to get it because I'm just like, how many more new comics can I really afford to be picking up month to month? This one's gonna make the list. About 4 sisters. It's a very playful first issue. I had no idea. Like, I kept reading like the synopsis. It's like 4 sisters and there's a mystery. And honestly, I can't tell you much more than that after reading it. But it's very colorful, very cartoony, and that like the whole first 3/4 of the book are this girl chasing this letter that keeps floating away because of the wind. It's very comical and stuff. It's very charming so far, but it looks like it's going to, because it's a Rick Remender book. It'll start off charming and then it'll end up scary at some point or something.
For sure.
I also picked up the latest issue of Batman.
I read this one.
Is this Zdarsky's last issue?
That's it. That's it. So we're done. He's done with comic books.
He's given up. I kind of wanted a little bit more denouement from my Zdarsky run. It just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of ends.
Yeah, if you go into his Substack, if you're part of his Substack, he wrote 2 versions of why he stopped the run. One of them is just pretty straightforward. Like, he had a lot of things going on, a lot of projects happening at the same time, and then when Ben Abernathy left to do editing for the Energon universe, and editor changed, like, he just felt like it was maybe a time to put things in, pump the brakes, and maybe stop writing Batman. If you read the more fantastical version of events, Mark Waid gained so much power from all the stuff he's been doing that he fired him. So go with whatever version makes you happiest. But I agree. It feels very abrupt. It feels like we still had a few things. Like, I'm sure the whole thing with his brother.
Yeah, the brother that almost was that never.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, we took a DNA test. It's one of those things where it starts off like really, like you ask the question, like your normal question is just like, because this guy shows up and he's like, I'm Bruce Wayne's half brother. I'm going to take half his money. And in reality, you're like, well, why don't they just do a DNA test? But that's not how it would work in comics, because then you don't have a storyline. But then in here, they were just like, no, we just took a DNA test. Turns out it wasn't right. So that's the end of that. So it's very anti. And then there's this whole other, they create this Commander Star character like 4 issues ago. And he was going to be this kind of like, allegory for like this kind of blind Americanism, like whatever. We just kind of follow the whatever, but then it's
what happens when you let Vandal Savage be the commissioner.
Thank you.
Like,
I was Vandal Savage is commissioner of Gotham City. That kind of like makes things interesting.
That's been weird, but hey, we're getting back to the old school. Hush 2 kicks off in the next issue.
Hush 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Right. Yeah. More bandages, more fun.
Batman Off-World.
Yeah.
Hello Darkness. This was a great issue.
I need to start reading that.
Yeah.
All the interiors are just super bloody graphic.
The first story is by Griffin Sheridan and Ethan Parker, who we've had on the show. They did Kill Your Darlings.
Oh yeah. There's a Maria Lovett story in there.
Maria Lovett story too, yeah.
Ooh.
Josh.
Nice.
The Ninja Turtles #6. Love the artwork. Now that we've gotten the regular artist.
Yes.
Good stuff.
The boys are back in town.
Birds of Prey what is this? 18. I don't know if anybody else has read this. We got art by Juan Cabal, who does something super cool in here. Let's see if I can find
I
it
fell
quickly.
behind on that one.
That cover was amazing.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So we've got this part here where Barda, like, she crashes down, and you can see that it crashes the gutters.
Oh yeah! Oh, that's awesome.
She uses the gutter to like swing around and kick the guy.
That's amazing.
So that is just some fantastic art.
I love that. That's great.
I love Birds of Prey. Aside from Fantastic Four, this is my other favorite month-to-month comic.
Wow.
Absolute Superman #4. Great comic. I love what they really are mixing up, where the characters, like, they're who they are, what they are specifically.
It's probably the hardest remix of the Absolute line out of all the three of them.
Definitely. Still reading Sacrificers, another Rick Remender book. I love this book. This is I don't know. We're 14 issues in, so that's 3 trades worth, but definitely worth reading.
Back in the day, it was only 2 trades.
Yeah.
Back when there were 6 issues each.
And then I started reading. I bought books 1 and 2 of Alex and Ada.
Alex and Ada.
Ooh.
One more book left.
We read that a long time ago for book club at Boomerang, like way before.
Oh, really?
You joined. Yeah.
I'm not. It's the first time reading it. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's better than Not All Robots, which is kind of a similar story by Mark Russell. But yeah, good stuff.
Nice. All right, let me wrap up with the stuff that you guys didn't talk about that I still read this week. I read Power Man, Timeless.
I wanted to pick that up, but these things are always sequels that I've never read, so I didn't.
I've read all the Timeless stuff because I like Lansing and Kelly, but this is the first one that actually kind of clicks with me. I really liked it. So apparently this version of Luke Cage has some blood of the Hulk in him. He's got the powers of the Sentry and the Void inside of him, and he is wielding the Iron Fist. He's like the last survivor of his own his own universe. It's really cool. I really like that. There's a new kind of villain introduced in this, and Bernard Chang doing some really cool art. So this one really clicked with me. I also read Star Wars Legacy of Vader #1. This is a new book with Kylo Ren in it. I like it a lot. Kylo, this takes place after The Last Jedi, where he kills Snoke and he becomes the Supreme Leader, but he's still like trying to reconcile his feelings, and he goes back to Mustafar. To search the legacy of Vader. Very cool. They're also gonna adapt the last movie, The Rise of Skywalker. So I'm wondering if it'll make a little more sense in comic book form.
That's a heavy lift, my friend. That's a heavy lift.
You know what? I trust Jodie Hauser is so good at adapting books.
True. That's true. Yeah, I do too. That's a fair point.
She's excellent at these adaptations of like
her Stranger Things is the closest where you feel like you're watching the show. Like she is able to lift that vibe and put it on paper.
Same with her Doctor Who work.
Yeah. I agree. I also picked up Avengers. I haven't read this one though. I'm behind on the series, but I have to catch up because next week is the One World Under Doom stuff starts. And then
that's on my list.
My shop pulled this for me just because they thought it was cover. But we're getting. I think we have new Power Rangers. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
What What colors are they? Like puce.
Yeah. It's all the colors in between in the color wheel.
Right.
The
blue,
one
gray.
You know at Home Depot where they have the list of paint that people have returned.
Yeah.
But they've already mixed it.
Yeah.
All right. We have like 15 minutes. We could probably go through real quick some of the stuff that we have watched. I didn't watch much this week, but I did watch the first 3 episodes of the new season of Invincible. It's really good. God, what a show. I love that show. I forget how good it is until it comes back.
I need to watch it. I've been putting it off so I could read the comic. I haven't ever read it, but
you're never reading the comic.
I know. It's the same thing with Dune.
No. If you get like the first omnibus, I swear you'll sit down because like I read through that like in one sitting.
I do have like as a PDF because it was in a Humble Bundle. The first omnibus. It's yeah.
I think it's Omni-Man.
True.
But yeah, first 3 episodes are really good. I have videos for the first 2 on the channel, and I'll have a 3rd one later on. And the only other thing I watched was a movie that's on Max with Michael Keaton. It's called Goodrich.
Oh, sounds like the total bummer.
It's definitely just a slice of life story of like this guy who his wife leaves him to go to rehab for 90 days, so he's got to take care of his twins. He's older. I mean, he's Michael Keaton age, so he's older, but he's like with his second wife. But then his daughter from his original marriage, who's like in her 30s, now she's seeing how different of a dad he is with his new with his new kids. They're still pretty all involved with each other. So it started off kind of weird where I'm like, I don't relate to any of these characters because they're very white. But they actually, like, Michael Keaton's very charming, and his character actually evolves through, like, there's a whole arc that he goes through. Yeah,
what I've heard,
interesting.
It sounds like he was a bad dad to the first kid, and now he's got to be a dad to the second group of kids. And I keep going, why is he being a dad if he's so shit at it? And then he's going to somehow in 90 minutes become a good guy that we're all supposed to like at the end.
I wouldn't say he was a bad dad. He was a dad that was very focused on work. And
absentee dad.
Yeah, and now in this stage of his life where his work life is kind of falling apart and coming to an end, he chooses to focus on his family because they need him. Because I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
doesn't your family always need you?
Well, but it's like because the mom's not there, like it's not as stable. I don't know. Like, listen.
It's white people stuff. White people stuff.
It is some white people problems.
Listen. It is funny because like his job is like he's the director of an art gallery, and I'm like, God, that's like the whitest job.
I feel personally called out, but also agree with you. So,
but I enjoyed the film. Goodrich was pretty good, and then I rewatched Independence yesterday because it was on, and then I took a break, and then I came back before SmackDown and finished it. But yeah, that's it. All right, Clay, what have you been watching?
I watched an incredible documentary. I sent this to Josh because I thought that he would really dig on the vibe. It's called Flipside. It's about a Gen Xer who grew up with a dad who worked in marketing, and he was inspired to make documentaries. So he started filming at an early age. And one of his first jobs was actually in marketing for Columbia House, where most of us were able to put together our music collection. And
then not figure out how to get out of the music collection. So.
Yeah. So it just follows him as he, from that time period up to now, as he tries to take work that he had created over time, like unfinished projects, like documentaries he started and didn't finish, and wrap it into a movie about like just growing up, you know, with this dad who was into marketing, and he was a Gen Xer who was like, we won't be marketed to kind of attitude. And a guy who was a photographer of jazz musicians. actually there was a guy, the guy who wrote created Deadwood had asked him, like, I'm going to have you do this documentary on this guy, and it kind of fell to the wayside. So like during this, he also tries to do a documentary. Like he keeps trying these creative outlets, and he keeps kind of failing, but he ties them together in this movie beautifully because he's able to tell these multiple stories. Flip side is the record shop he worked at when he was in high school, and it still existed when he was filming this, and he was like trying to help it make a comeback. And it was showing just people who are collectors versus people who work in a business. Like we've all been to the comic shop where some comics may not have a price on it because it's like the owner's personal copy, and it's like, well, how much for this, and he decides on the spot how much it's worth. That kind of concept, because at the end he talks about like the massive records he has, and like he wants to sell them off, but he talks about taking them to a competitor that is in the same, like down the street from this Flip side that he worked at, because they're there to sell records. He goes, I worry if I sell to this guy, no one will ever listen to my records again. And it just has a lot of things about collecting that we can all relate to. It just had a lot of points about creativity and inspirations, and sometimes when projects stall. I really loved it. It really hit me hard with a lot of the things that he was covering. And he was even hired by Judd Apatow, who helped produce this film, because he wanted a documentary done on his movie Funny People. And so he moved his whole family to shoot this documentary, and he goes, and all it became was just a DVD extra. Like it wasn't really become a film.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to go through this guy's life and the things that he dealt with, and the creativity hurdles that he ran into. So the only other thing I really want to mention is an animated show that just started on Max called Common Side Effects.
I want to see this.
The new Mike Judge, I think, right?
He's executive producer, but it has that sensibility. Like I got the vibe of like his other shows in this, but this is about a guy who has he comes to protest at a corporation and say, hey, you're destroying this area of the world. It's very precious to us. Please don't. And of course gets escorted out of the press conference. But come to find he has a mushroom that can cure anything. And it's amazing. And so he meets a friend who works for the pharmaceutical company, but she hides the fact that she does. And he shows how this drug works. And in doing so, she goes back to work and learns that she might be getting laid off. So she goes, what if I brought you a miracle drug? So she immediately sells this guy out, but the concepts and the way it evolves is very cool. I'm trying to think who the writers were on it, because they had worked on some previous shows. I believe that they had worked on some Mike Judge shows, but he's the executive producer, one of the voices in the cast. Only 2 episodes are out. Absolutely worth checking out.
I'm just not a big fan of the animation. I saw the previews for it, and I was like,
Oh, see, which to me, it reminded me a lot of like Paranoia Agent. And so that's where my brain went when I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, this, like, I had no idea it was a Mike Judge jam. I just thought it was like a weird ass anime. And I'm like, oh, I'll watch that. So,
yeah.
Nice. The writers are, hang on, I just brought up all cast and crew. Hang on. Joseph Bennett, Steve Healy, John Four, Sean Buckaloo, and Dave King. I don't know any of those people.
Those are all made up names.
Yes. And I'm sure I said it wrong.
Josh was just typing into ChatGPT, come up with 5 writer names.
Sorry for me typing.
Right.
Dale McKenzie.
All right, Jeff, what have you been watching?
I watched that SNL documentary that Clay brought up last week or a couple of weeks ago. It's really, really good. It's fun to see. SNL has a nice history of being very counterculture, but I think it's also got a history of having to it's an NBC product. They have to sell out, so it's fun to see them when they do kind of but we used to be this, and sometimes we can still be this. It just, we live in a different world because, now the craziest person they can invite on obviously is Kanye. So, and nobody wants to see that. But it is a very good, just great highlight clips. So many great performances, especially the farther back you go, the weirder they got. So it's super cool to see some of that stuff. It's definitely good. I also watched Mythic Quest came back.
Yes,
for its newest season.
I'm catching up.
It's so good. It's the one. I am not a TV show watcher guy, but it's the one show that I'm caught up on.
I'll remove you, Clay.
Clay didn't like it, apparently.
I didn't like how the last season ended, where we're just going to try to force these two characters to kind of want to be together, and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to start the next season. So, but I mean, everyone seems to be on board with it. It was just like
I will say the first episode back was everyone felt a little weird and off, but then the second episode, like things clicked back into place again for me.
Yeah,
because the first one,
Danny Pudi, so I want to see more of him.
He's really good. That's why I'm still watching the stupid Going Gut show.
Have you been watching the new military show he's on?
That's the one I just mentioned. Yeah, it's not very good, but he's funny in it.
Yeah,
it's not very good.
I know. I tried it, and it hasn't really clicked with me either. And I like Dennis Leary. I mean, he's got one role that he plays, but he's really, he does it well. So
he should have been a firefighter.
Bill Hicks.
Yeah,
he's the guy from Rescue Me. He'll never.
Or The Ref, which if you've never seen The Ref, it's worth seeing.
But anyway, Jeff, Mythic Quest. Sorry.
Mythic Quest. I enjoy it. I guess the first episode felt a little off, but I always am just like, well, that's the first episode back from the season. Like they've all been doing other things and whatnot. So
they talk a little bit about AI, so that's funny.
Yeah. I really enjoy Mythic Quest. I think it's great.
It's funny how much the roles have shifted for a lot of characters from the first season. I love the new testers.
The new testers are great.
Testers, just those just a random all white dudes. Barely.
And it's a show that's done really well with the punches because their COVID. Everybody talks about their COVID episode because it's so great. But then they also had to write off what's his name because he kind of got canceled, and they did that really well too. So, what?
He's the voice of Khonshu.
Oh yeah, Khonshu. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, F. Murray Abraham. I forgot about that.
Abraham.
I'm only as far. Like I'm just starting season 3. But when I got to, how there's always like a flashback one, when I got to his flashback episode in season 2, and then they follow it with, which at first I was kind of irked. So I was like, they're just going to follow up the last episode immediately. But the minute that William Hurt walked in as his old friend, it's like, the fuck did they get William Hurt in this show? And it was like months before he died. I mean, I think he was genuinely ill when they were filming that. So, it was stunning.
Yeah,
those episodes are great. The flashback episodes.
Yeah,
I really like the one about how the game studio developed.
I love that with the guy from New Girl and
Christina Milioti.
Milioti. She's so good.
She's great. Okay. What else, Jeff? Anything else you watched?
That's all I got.
Okay. Josh, do we go to you for watching stuff? No.
Yeah, I've got a couple things. As usual, I have a classic film that no one else has watched recently. The Thin Man from 1934, which if you've never seen it, is fucking fantastic. It is so good. It is, and it's one of those things where, so it's based on, I think, the last thing Dashiell Hammett wrote. And it's the only thing he wrote with this character. So all the other Thin Man movies are just kind of like based off of original script and ideas. But the basic plot is a retired private detective has gotten married and just basically reluctantly does not want to solve this murder that's just kind of continually thrown on him. It's not a great mystery, but it is fantastic acting. The guy who plays the main character,
William Powell.
Thank you. William Powell. Myrna Loy plays his wife. The two of them just sparkle on screen. I mean, they are unbelievably great together. So just go in, sit down, grab a cocktail because he drinks all the time. I think I told my mom I was watching this, and she's like, it's one of those movies where alcoholism is fun. But yeah, really, really great. Go check it out. And then we started, I walked out one night after doing some work or something, and my wife and daughter were watching the first episode of Preacher. And we just kind of stumbled on it. So we've been watching it every night. I'm here to tell you, I know I'm like the only defender of this show. Fucking love this show. And that first season needed to go down the way that it went down, to the point where Hazel's into it, so she started to read the comic. And she texted me the other day, and she's like, if I had tried reading this comic without seeing season 1, I don't think I would have stuck with it. Because it just, I mean, I think we forget the comic just throws you in. Yeah. Like the whole first season is 2 issues of the comic, right?
Yeah.
And then and then I believe the second story is him going back to his family. I mean, it's a rough ride, the first several issues of Preacher. So anyway, I love the first season of that show. And I thought there were only 2 seasons. I was not aware there were 4. No, there's 4.
4.
Yeah, so I am now going to watch the whole thing because I've only ever seen halfway through season 2. So,
Josh, what's the next Garth Ennis comic you're giving Hazel?
Honestly, it'd be Sarah. I think she'd really dig Sarah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
The TKO story. Yeah, do Sarah, and then probably not Hitman. Probably go back to his original Constantine stuff. Honestly, so then we could watch Constantine. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap it up, Kyle. What have you been watching? What's this show here?
Have you guys seen High Potential?
I've seen the pilot. I've seen the pilot.
Olsen's new show.
Yeah.
It's actually really, really good. So it's based off a Netherlands show. And basically she is a person with like a 200 IQ who's a mom with 3 kids, a single mom, working as a janitor, basically, or cleaning woman in a LA police station. And she does the whole Goodwill Hunting, sees like them trying to work on a case on the board, fix it for them, and they bring her on as a consultant. And it's just the dynamic with the whole entourage. It's a really fun show, and they're about to have their season finale episode this coming Tuesday.
Kyle,
I'm watching all of my normal procedurals, and may a rose be put on the grave. About 2 months ago was the final episode of Blue Bloods. That was one show that I know I've been on since we first started the podcast.
Oh my God, good Lord.
We outlived Blue Bloods.
Well, we also started after them, so there's a little bit of...
All right.
God, Jesus.
Kyle, you may be a person that watches this. Two things, but first, have you checked out the show Doc on Fox?
No.
Okay.
I have not watched that one yet. No.
Okay, because I thought you might. It's about the doctor who is in a car accident, forgets the last 8 years.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, the one I have gotten into is Brilliant Minds. The guy with Zachary Quinto who played Spock.
Oh yeah. He's a doctor
who has like this issue where he can't see faces. He only way he can remember people is by mannerisms or something he puts to their thing. Like he has like psychological issues but he's like this doctor who works at this Bronx hospital, but every other hospital is thrown out. But he really gets in tune and actually helps, like physically. Like the pilot opens up with him taking the grandfather who's in this home to see his granddaughter, and because something happened, the grandfather was able to like awaken from his dementia and actually be there at his granddaughter's wedding. And it's like he really dives hard into the.
I love the promo for that one. Was like, I'm a doctor and I must experience what my patients are experiencing.
Yeah.
So I must do ecstasy.
He did it.
I mean, hey, if you need a reason to do ecstasy, I guess.
Okay, but the real question, Kyle, are you watching Matlock?
I watched the first episode. It's not bad.
Kathy Bates was won for best performer in a drama series at the Critics' Choice Awards yesterday. And look, I know Kathy Bates is our queen, and she probably would have won regardless of how good the show was. But the show's pretty good, I think. Jeff watches it. Right?
I'm enjoying it.
Jeff?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm like 2 episodes back.
You might like. You might like it.
I'll have to go. I'll have to give it a shot. But like the other thing I'm looking forward to is yesterday was the first episode of season 2 for the new NCIS Sydney. This back.
Oh yeah. They're back in the kangaroo land.
Yeah.
I would love it if one of them were a kangaroo. Like their technician guy was just a kangaroo, like a goth kangaroo.
Like a goth kangaroo.
And, okay, real quick, if you guys have been watching it, like it's about to end, but it's only gonna be like 27 episodes. Dragon Ball Daima is on Hulu, and that's a really fun series.
I'm behind, but I am loving it.
Yes.
I didn't think, I was like, they can't make them kids again. They can. They can, and it works.
And I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't care. The fact that Vegeta goes stage 3 Saiyan, I'm just like, hell yes.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Awesome. All right. Well, that's our show. We did a full show. Great job, everyone. We got everything in. Oh, somebody had a recommendation. Oh,
that's okay.
I had one.
Oh,
all right. Go ahead, Clay.
Severance this week is fucking amazing. It is. I know the guys here aren't watching it, but it is a fantastic show that gets corporate life in such a way that it's disturbing. Patricia Arquette is fucking amazing. She is
the medium herself.
Yeah, but man, like I only remember her. To me, she's always going to be Alabama. Like she's that's her character. That's who she is. But like in this, like she could just make a quiet moment, the darkest part of the show. She could turn on you. I mean, she does a lot of shit that I'm just like really broken by. But this week, the company has an outing for the people that work there who are called innies. Severance is the idea that people go to work for a company and have a brain implant that makes them forget about their life outside of the company because it creates or they don't really create a reason, but it keeps them from taking the knowledge they have out. Yeah. And so they take them on an outing that is also a kind of work group type session, and they're just like thrown into the woods. And so I have a theory of what is happening in this one, but a lot of secrets are exposed, and it's shot very cinematically. Like this is the best shot episode of the run, and Ben Stiller is amazing at it. So check it out.
I got one thing I want to bring up, and this is for Daniel and Jeff. So, and this is only speculative, but apparently Chavo Guerrero was on a podcast recently talking about how there might be a biopic for Eddie Guerrero coming out or being made.
Oh,
one of the rumors is, and this is tied to FF, that Pedro Pascal might play Eddie Guerrero. What are your thoughts on that?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like it. You'd have to do some push-ups.
Well, young
Eddie wasn't super cut. Yeah, Eddie was never super. I mean, well, he was a guy cut.
Hold on, Josh, you all right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I just like the
Silver Banshee showed up at your house and just like. Anyway, sorry, Josh. Okay.
I would be he's one of the ones I'd be like,
young
I wish he
Eddie
was still around.
Lean, right? WCW Eddie was lean. He didn't really bulk up till
when he came back.
Imagine if Eddie and Dom were still.
Yeah. Oh man.
If Eddie were still around, and we had Dominic. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I mean, look, I know we're already over time. The Royal Rumble last week
was amazing.
Oh my god.
Was fucking amazing.
That Alabama slam onto the stairs where KO just folded in half. Oh, I'll send you guys a link, Josh, Clay, so you can see what they're putting their bodies through. Severance is good, but Mythic Quest is much better. Hello, Leonard Kim dropping new bombs.
Very into the show. Very into the show comes in hot.
Leonard Kim just showed up as a sniper at the end. Let me take these fools out.
I just have one comment. I haven't seen Severance yet, but I want its legacy to be the fact that because of its concept and it became so popular, somebody in corporate America who was working on inventing that chip is like, fuck, we can't do it now. And so
they would 100% still do it. This is the world we live in.
I was gonna say, like, I would watch Severance, but there's already a CEO out there that's trying to figure out how to get his employees to want to live at work.
Yeah.
His name's Elon Musk.
Right. He's a madman.
Guy. So
you can put
that,
that
I think I'll just wait on
Starlink
Severance.
in his head.
Yeah, I'll just wait on Severance till the world's not on fire. But yeah, go watch the Royal Rumble. It was really good. Both the women and the men's was really good. And then the stuff, even the 2 matches in between, the 2 out of 3 falls.
The tag match was sick.
So good, so good. All right. Well, that'll do it. Thanks, everyone. Next week, hopefully, by the time we do a show next week, I will have already watched Captain America: Brave New World.
Ooh.
We'll see. Hold on to your pantaloons.
I got my ticket. I'm going on Thursday.
Hold on to your pantaloons. Oh man, I can't wait to dig into the good old American Captain American scramble that they're going to be serving at the moons over my Winter Soldier.
It's going to be dyed red with like red sauce.
I'm just trying to figure out, and I hope they go into depth. I hope they go into depth in the movie as to how the Winter Soldier was elected to the House of Representatives of the United States of America. Like, I want to see the campaign trail. I want to see like voter turnouts. I just want to see the celebration when he won, because in the trailer we see him with a pin from the House of Representatives. So to me, that tells me that he went through an election process.
Well, then what happens between this and Thunderbolts?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he loses the next election cycle.
It'd be cool if he did his, like, if this version of Bucky that comes in Captain America is also like Sebastian Stan still has a little bit of The Apprentice in him, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, he just shows up just like Trump.
Yeah, we got the best robot arm. Nobody has a better robot arm than me. Some say. Some say Misty Knight has a better robot arm. I don't think so.
I don't know. I've heard that adamantium's a lot better than vibranium. Mr. Representative, I don't know.
Fake news.
You know what? That's what brings Sam into it. You don't talk about his girlfriend, man.
That's right.
All right. Well, great. That's a good note to go out on, I think. I hope. I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The most important thing in life will always be
Bill Bebo.
We don't love you.
Simon Center, get the fuck out.